is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
There he is.
How you doing?
Good, good. Fresh off of practice, sweating my ass off. Not you. You don't have to sweat because they send your ass inside, right? That's what it is, right? You guys.
It was hot out there today for when we were out there, but I came home and showered, so I had time to clean up here. Yeah,
me too. Definitely got a shower, bro. You're so damn sticky from being out there, but it was good. So I saw one of the headlines on Sean Taylor number and all that good stuff, and I found it very interesting because he said he wouldn't retire numbers, that they should be honored. And considering, you know, you've got, what is it, 90 or 91? What was it? Or hell, what was it yesterday when he was in his press conference? He said 120, and oh my God, compliance, it's 110 or whatever. So
right,
you have more players than numbers anyway, as it is.
Mm-hmm.
In college football, that's the last sport that you should be retiring numbers.
Yeah, it's really difficult to do it, but I think the bigger point is that you want special players to wear special numbers. And if you're going to let, you know, somebody wear number 1 at the University of Miami, or let somebody wear Sean Taylor's number 26, then it should be somebody who's worthy of it. And that's a tough thing to do, right? Because every coach is going to have their opinion on who's worthy and all that kind of stuff. But essentially, somebody asked if they could wear 26, and Mario's response was no. Because to him, you have to earn it. You have to go out and prove it and be a guy that is probably one of the team captains, somebody that can be counted on. And so I think, you know, before those numbers are given out again in the future, I think we're going to see, you know, respect a little more. And that's stuff that they do at other programs. You know, they do that at LSU, for instance, right? With their numbers, the important ones there for their school. You know, I know that it has a positive effect on the program, because now it's something for these players to strive for. If they really want to wear that number, then they know that they have to act accordingly. And a big part of this coaching success in college, not the pros, in college, is having carrots like this, right? Because all the kids want to have the cool numbers. They want to wear the single digits, all that kind of stuff. Well, if you really want it, then you really have to earn it. And I think that's a good thing.
So what are those numbers? You said 1 and 26. You know how many great players they've had at that place?
Well, I mean, there are numbers that are retired. You know, for instance, Vinny's 14. I don't think anybody's worn that in a while. Look, I'm gonna look here.
I'm sorry. Would you say Vinny Testaverde?
Did he just throw another interception? Is that what happened when we were talking?
Yeah, number 10.
I don't have I'm looking for the roster. I had it here in front of me somewhere from practice earlier, but you know, Michael Irvin is 47. Is anybody wearing 47? Let me look.
God,
this is from the spring. I don't know.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite UM player of all time.
I got to find this roster here. Hold on. I got it in a bag in one of these things.
Terrible on radio. He's a terrible radio host.
I'm killing
He is my favorite Kane of all time. He was so fun to watch. He was so money, so fearless. I mean, it's impossible not to love what you saw from Michael Irvin as a Hurricane, man.
I'm trying to 52. I mean, they've Ray was 52 in the pros and at Miami, I think. And
yes,
nobody's wearing 52. I'm trying to think of other numbers that just jump off the page as far as most special Canes.
12.
Reed.
12.
Yeah, 12 is being worn by two guys. Jim Kelly's number 1 on offense. Rashard Smith, the receiver, and Jafari Harvey, the defensive end. You know, it's just one of those things. No 10. I think that was who was 10? What is it? Was it Myra? I think 10 was Myra. I don't know.
I think you might be right. I don't even remember now. That's
because they have some of the old.
You know, about Myra. You're talking senior, by the way. You're not talking junior.
Yeah, I'm talking about the father who played quarterback, not the linebacker.
No, but just in case, because people, you know, Junior came in clutch for that moment that they needed him. He actually, that 1 year, he actually came through when they needed him.
Right.
He was a backup, I believe. Right now, I forgot who missed, and then he was thrusted in there. Right? Was it like that, or was it that? Or was it that he went down and then Bernard Tiger Clark came in? I forget.
That was what happened. Bernard came in as replacement.
Right? He went down and then Tiger came out of nowhere and had the bowl game of his life.
Yeah. No 14, no 52, no 26. You know, 1 is always a special number with every team. I'm looking who else. What would be another one to look up? 47 there is. It's a walk-on defensive lineman. But I don't know, man. It's just
so 47, a walk-on defensive lineman has it.
Right.
Yeah, we're not really going by this whole thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, Mario, I love you, brother, but we're not really going by this, because if we got to walk on wearing 47, yeah, no, dude. No.
I would say Sean Taylor's 26. Gervin Hall wore it last year. Gervin, of course, had the infamous missed tackle against Michigan State where he ran into his own guy.
Maybe he was tackling the spirit of Sean Taylor. Maybe he saw it on the field, and he goes, "Wow, Sean, I got to hug you."
Maybe that was it.
And that was, I wear your 26, Sean.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe, I've seen radio guys think that there was a cat in the studio. So, I mean, anything is possible in today's world.
I think it's a cool thing if he's going to uphold it and not give out 1 and 26 and people are asking for it and they've got to earn it.
I'm fine with that. But when you tell me 47 is being worn by some walk-on.
Well, 47 was worn after Michael as well.
I know, but I mean, are we going to cherish the numbers or are we not going to cherish the numbers? Because
I guess we can't. I guess you can't really do it maybe for the college Hall of Famers, but you should probably do it, for like the NFL legends. Like I would think those guys probably deserve a little more just because of the national recognition they got. Jerome Brown was 98, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's wearing 98.
Okay.
That's another one.
He was so dominant. Jesus Christ, he could move a building.
Yeah.
That guy could just move a building.
Oh, was Russell 67 at Miami?
Yes.
Yeah, nobody's wearing 67 either. I'm flipping through the roster quickly and trying to do it all off memory here. So if I missed anybody important, I apologize. But
they are keeping some people off because they have to have double numbers other places. Because again,
right, there's a lot of other double numbers. Correct.
Right.
So,
okay. How we doing injury wise? I know Zion. What else is going on?
Zion was the only one in terms of notable absences, guys that will be part of a rotation that wasn't there for practice. Even some of the guys I thought would be out, like Akeem Mesidor, who told me he's at 80% his shoulder. He was out there running through drills. Now, again, they're not hitting exactly. They're in shorts and shells. Okay, this is sort of the first couple of days, which you know how that always works, right? The first 2 or 3 days, I think. It's the first 2 days that they're not allowed to practice in pads. So Sunday, I guess, will be the first day that they're in pads doing that kind of stuff. But again, good sign. A lot of healthy guys back. Don Chaney Jr., Jalen Rivers, all the guys who had surgery last year, which there were a lot of guys who had surgery. They're all back. And the thing with Zion, for people who were worried about that, it was a cleanup, and it was becoming, cartilage that was kind of loose in his leg. He just had to get it cleaned up and didn't want to play through the pain. So he misses a little bit of camp. You have the 2 warm-up games. He'll be fine for Texas A&M in my mind.
I think the problem is it's kind of like the same shit that goes on with Dolphin fans. Because it's a unit you can't trust. You haven't been able to trust it in years. It's a concern every moment. And so anybody that misses time, anybody that has surgery, anybody that's out, and especially the guy that maybe is labeled your best lineman, right? Zion is your best lineman, right?
Well, so he could be a first-round pick. Probably not now after this more surgery news, but who knows?
Okay, but that's my point, that it's your best lineman. And so if your best lineman is not ready yet and you are concerned, and look, anybody coming back from surgery, you always worry about how they're going to come back. How can they get back to form? How long will it take it to get back to form? All those kind of things. So I just think it's one of those things that Dolphins and Canes fans have been beaten down so badly with that position that it's just until they actually see 5 competent dudes doing the job, they just won't feel secure. They won't feel like you solved that problem. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. I can totally see that. Look, I think Miami's going to have a good offensive line this year. I think the ACC network put out their top 5 offensive lines in the conference, and Miami was 4th. I mean, if John Campbell's as good as Mario's making him out to be, and most people don't even remember who John Campbell is because he didn't play last year. But, you know, I wrote about him the year before when he was dunking basketballs, you know, 6'5", 330, trains with Trent Williams in the NFL. And you know, it just, he's a really good athletic lineman. It looks like he's going to be really good. I know Garen Justice used to talk up a storm about how good he thought John Campbell's would be. If he is that player, then I think Miami could have one of the best offensive lines, if not the best offensive line in the conference this year.
Well, if they do, then you got a chance at winning the division and putting yourself in a position to actually win the conference.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's kind of what when you have that quarterback, and I think you have enough guys on defense to make some noise, man, fix that damn offensive line, and you'd be all right, actually, because everything else could actually fall in place.
Yeah. And you know, I think the bigger question though is receiver. You know, Josh Gaddis, the offensive coordinator, spoke to us on Tuesday at Media Day, and someone asked him, you know, do you think you have enough talent at the position? He said, "Oh, I think we have enough talent as a team." And whenever a guy says that about a certain position group, he's kind of, you know, trying not to say anything negative about it, which tells me that I think you're going to probably see the running backs and tight ends and a lot more involved in that regard until somebody really emerges. I think Xavier Strepo will be the Braxton Berrios type, you know, third down receiver who probably catches a lot of balls out of the slot. But I think as far as deep threats, there's a lot that some of these guys have to prove, and that's going to affect Miami's offense if Tyler Van Dyke can't fling the ball down the field regularly and feel confident in the guys he has. I'm not saying they don't have that guy on their roster. I'm just saying right now they don't have that guy who's established himself as that deep threat.
Right. No, I mean, that's another concern, obviously, is the receiving core for Tyler Van Dyke. What do they tell you? I mean, coaches are always going to give you coach talk, so they're always going to be positive about it. But what concerns have they told you about the wide receiver position? I mean, do you see them trying to continue to recruit somebody to get somebody that can transfer in right away? What do you see?
They made a strong push to try to get Jordan Addison when he was leaving Pittsburgh, and didn't really even return their phone calls. I think that they reached out to some of people, you know, in Zay Flowers' camp. Zay Flowers is from down here in South Florida. He's the top receiver at Boston College, a deep threat, you know, behind the scenes trying to see if he would have any interest in coming back home to play for him. So I think they made the effort. I just think they didn't find him. And, you know, Frank Ladson, who came over from Clemson, and this kid Colby Young, who's from the same school that produced Bryant McKinney, this junior college up in Pennsylvania, you know, they're big athletic receivers, but they have to do it at this level consistently. You know, Ladson was an elite recruit coming out of high school, one of the best in the country, and just didn't, you know, couldn't stay healthy at Clemson. So this is kind of like his final shot if he wants to play in the NFL. He's got the skills, he's got the ability. The question is, can he hold on to the football and make the plays? And Colby Young is a really big physical guy. I think he's going to catch a lot of jump balls near the end zone, but you know, that's different than getting behind the defense and stretching the field and holding onto the football. And so we'll see here. The first 2 weeks of camp will be interesting. They still got about 20 to 25% of the offense to install. Tyler Van Dyke said today he's interested to see what that last 20 to 25% of the playbook is. But you know, I think we're going to see a lot of two tight ends. I think we're going to see a lot of running the football.
Well, that's what I was just going to follow up with that, because this is what I was going to tell you. You know, you have an untested wide receiving core. Mm-hmm. Okay. The best thing that we can do to help those guys is shove the ball down the throat of the defense and make those linebackers come up in the middle of the field. All of a sudden is going to be open for the tight ends, for wide receivers. And then you can start to, you know, play with that free safety a little bit, because the strong is cheating up so much. So you now, if you really want to help your receivers, run the ball and run the ball effectively. Make them have to bring another guy in the box to try to stop that run. If they can stay in their base to stop the run, then that wide receiving core's job is going to be that much harder. But if they can run, maybe that's the saving grace for that offense and for the receiving core.
And they seem to think that they will. And there were flashes of it in the spring game, even with, you know, the number 3 and 4 running backs technically on the team. You know, Jalen Knighton's speed is the best on the team right now. I would say that, you know, him being healthy is a good thing. I think him and Parrish together, very similar players. You know, they give you that speed. They give you that ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. And then I would say Chaney, right, Citizen are kind of your more traditional backs. And they'll be the guys, I think, that take the majority of the handoffs. You know, Citizen's a guy that everybody keeps raving about and just calls an absolute freak, but he's a baby. He's a true freshman, and there's going to be a learning curve there. But and then Thad Franklin's the thumper. So I think in a lot of ways, and I included a one-on-one interview I had with Miami's running backs coach, Kevin Smith, who, by the way, I put him on the all-day team like 20-something years ago out of Southridge before he went to the NFL, and played and broke all kinds of records at UCF. So he remembered me when we had our first conversation here. He's like, dude, you're the guy who put me on all day. So that was kind of funny. But
did you feel old too, by the way?
That always, it kills me. I mean, he's got 5 kids. He's a grown man. I mean, I was maybe only 5 or 6 years older than him at the time when he was in high school. You know, I was in my early 20s. But, you know,
a guy told me today, God, man, listening to you, it just reminds me of me going to school and my dad listening to you and I was listening to because he turned me on to you. And I'm like, yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah, it's a two vets, brother. That's what we are. Yeah, so I think there's gonna be a lot of guys who play. I don't think there'll be one ball carrier. I shared that interview, by the way, in my podcast, the Wide Right podcast. So if you want to listen to what he said and you're interested in the running back race, it's available there. But you know, I think Miami's in a good position to run the football a lot better than they did last year when they were last in the ACC in yards per carry.
I don't know if you've asked this of him, but he has, and it's not like he's never done this before. I'm sure he's coached these kind of players in the past, but the last few years at Oregon, he always had an athletic running quarterback that could add to the running game.
Yeah.
That's not what you want to do with Tyler Van Dyke.
Right.
He's not really, I'm sure he can run if he has to, when he has no choice or whatever, but it's not even a design thing you want with him or anything like that, because he's not even really that kind of an athlete. You know what I mean? So I wonder for him, what's the adjustment? Because in college football, there's a lot of quarterbacks that can also run, but Tyler's not really that kind of quarterback. And so you won't have really that element to rely on in the running game.
Yeah, I mean, this is different. And, you know, this is Josh Gaddis's offense. And if you go back and you look at Michigan, they didn't really have a running quarterback either. Yeah.
No, this is a much. The last guy was Shoelace, right?
Yeah, the Shoelace from Denard Robinson from Deerfield Beach. From Deerfield Beach, yeah, Denard. Yeah. I would say that you know, they're running a play action offense. This is instead of an RPO, which, you know, spread, run and gun, this is a more traditional NFL style offense with regular sort of play action. And I think there will be some under center snapping and so forth. And so, but, you know, the one thing I will say for Tyler is he's not slow. He's not a statue back there. No. He can make plays on the run.
He's not the guy you want really running.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No. But listen, Kenny Pickett really wasn't that way either, but he was mobile enough to do some damage.
Yeah, he did. Actually.
I think that's a fair comparison for Tyler. I think he can make a few, you know, he can escape on a few 3rd downs and 8s and pick up the first down.
But they're desperation runs.
75.
Right, they're desperation runs. They're not play design runs. They're not, you know what I'm saying? That's the difference. Where actually, when you had Justin Herbert, he could literally just run a naked bootleg and let Justin just run because the guy can run. You know what I mean? He's an athlete. And Tyler, you don't view him that way. Plus, you don't want to put him at risk also. No. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things. It's interesting. He doesn't have that element in a year where we just talked about it. You really need to establish that run, you know?
Well, the guy who brings that to you is Ja'Carri Brown, the true freshman. And that's the guy who is to me, sort of a Cam Newton-esque type player that could run for 1,000 yards and throw for 4,000 yards and be a Heisman candidate. To me, when I look at it, I say that guy has that kind of a future if he pans out the way that they hope he does. So, they got a lot of talent on the roster, man. Now it's day one. Game is 29 days away. The opener.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm looking for this text that when we were talking, it was just too funny that some guy put. Here it goes. Samuel Robina says, my dad, you and I are old, told me that ese era el tipo más amarillo, the biggest choke job ever. And he's talking about Vinny. When I read that while we were talking, after that, I saw that. I go, okay, I think he's frozen. Look at him. He's frozen in time. And he's frozen like he has a face like right there, like he's he's about to, step on a duck, float an air biscuit. Anyway, that is Manny Navarro and our Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes report.
If you're